Hello everyone. In my previous lecture, we have discussed steps involved in research design. Today we will discuss sampling techniques. So sampling is one of the basic concepts in a survey-based research. So what are different sampling methods? So what different techniques and policies you have to use in selecting a sample? Those points today we are going to complete in today's video. So first, we should know the population, sample. These are some terms or terminologies used in survey-based research. So what is population? Suppose I want to conduct one research. Title is Student Satisfaction Survey about Services Provided by XYZ Institute. So this is my title. I am going to find Student Satisfaction Survey about different services provided by XYZ Institute. So all students who are taken admission for XYZ Institute, so all students are nothing but my population. Getting? So any member who is a part of that XYZ Institute, those members is called as population. So from that population, what I have to do? I have to select some sample. So what is my study? I am going to identify a satisfaction survey about different services like hostel facility, like internet facility, like maze facility. So I have to select from that population, I have to select a frame which satisfies my objective of my research. So in that case, what I have to select? I have to select students who are staying in hostels, who takes their lunch and dinner in maze, and they are having Android mobile phone, so they are using Wi-Fi facility. So from that population, I am selecting some members for my research. So that selected members are called as sample. So in population, all members are having equal probability to get selected as a sample. From that sample, from that population, we are selecting some members which fulfills our sampling frame. What was my study? To fulfill that study, how many members or how we have to select the members. So for that purpose, we use sampling mechanisms or sampling. So sample is nothing but part of a population. Part of a population is called as sample. Now there is one census inquiry or census sampling we can say. So if we are taking all members from a population for our research, if you are taking all population from your universe as a sample, then that survey is called as census survey. So as we know that if we collect information from all members, then automatically the results will be more representative, more accurate and more reliable. But if the size of the total population is very high, then it takes more efforts, more money, also it takes more time. And it is very difficult if the total population size is very big. So census survey is a survey in which we are taking into consideration all members from the population. That is called as census survey. Second one, sample. Sample is nothing but a selected members or selected units or selected items from the entire population or universe which is of our interest. Just we have discussed, if you are identifying, if you want to know this survey was opinion of students about services provided by XYZ organization or XYZ institute, then what was my interest? I want to check students' opinion about services. So what different services we are providing? Suppose we are providing hostel facility, we are providing internet facility, we are providing maze facility. Then from the population, I have to select members. I have to frame sampling frame which fulfills all these criteria. That's why sample is nothing but subset of a larger population. So when you select some members from the total population, that will have some advantages as well as some disadvantages. If you select some member from the population, automatically it will take less time to complete our survey. Also, it requires less money that are required to conduct the survey process. Also, it minimizes the workload as compared to census inquiry. And the results that we are getting that can be calculated mathematically. These are some benefits of sampling. Also have them some demerits of sample or sampling methods. It is difficulties of representative sample. So how to identify from the total population, if the number of populations are more, then how to select, how to finalize the total population. But okay, how to find out total sample. That identification is also one of the difficult tasks, and need a specialized knowledge. So how many samples or how many sample units I have to take. So for that purpose, you should have some, we can say, in-depth knowledge about selecting a sample size. And in sampling process, there is some chance of having some bias. So these are some benefits and demerits of sample or sampling mechanisms. As we have discussed, the title, students' opinion about services provided by XYZ organization. So here, my theoretical populations are nothing but all members who are taking admission in that particular XYZ institute. So all members are called as my theoretical population. So from that, I am going to select my study population. So what is my study population? I am interested in knowing the opinion of students regarding different services of that XYZ, like if they are providing a bus facility, if they are providing hostel facility, if they are providing Wi-Fi facility, or what facilities they want to assess. On the basis of that, among the total population, how many students they are availing that facility, that you have to identify. And that those members who are identifying that services is nothing but my study population. And from that study population, I have to select I have to create sampling frame. Sampling frame means what? If that institute is having different departments like MBA, MCA, Polytechnics, Engineering. So these are the different frames. From that, we have to formulate different frames of study population. And from each frame, we have to select some representative sample. So these processes you have to follow while selecting the sample. Sampling error is one of the concepts. Means we are selecting some representative from the total population. So there are some chance of having errors because sample does not include all members of the population. Parameter estimated generally differs from parameter on the entire population. So that causes to create some sampling error. Okay, so sampling error is nothing but difference between the sample and population parameter. Or that is statistical estimates and parameter is called as sampling error. Okay, now how to design sampling process? To design sampling process, there are some steps you have to follow. First of all, we have to define the population. Means how many members that may be a part of my research. The same example we are carrying forward. You want to calculate, you want to identify the student satisfaction about services provided by XYZ institute. So all members who are doing their education in XYZ institute, those students are nothing but my population. Then determine sampling frame. So from that population, we have to determine what is my parameter of interest. I want to take opinion about different services like teaching facility, teaching quality, like infrastructure quality, like Wi-Fi quality, hostel facility, mess facility or canteen facility. So these are the parameters. So from the total populations, I have to identify how many students they are availing these facilities. Those students are nothing but my, you can say, proposed population for my system or study population. So those students, those populations, we have to bifurcate whether those selected study population is from one institute or they are from different departments. If they are from other different departments like MBA, MCA, Engineering and Polytechnics, then we have to create separate frames. And from that frames, we have to select samples. And to select sample from those frames, we have to use either a probability sampling method or non-probability sampling method. In probability sampling method, all members from the studies you can from that particular sample units or sample frame have equal probability to get selected. In probability sampling, all members from that sampling frame have equal probability to get selected as a sample. On the other hand, non-propagated sampling method, the samples will be selected as per the convenience, judgment, or experience of that particular researcher. He gets selected the particular respondent. In probability sampling, there are different methods like sample random sampling, stratified sampling, cluster sampling, systematic sampling, multi-stage sampling. We are going to complete all those things. So in third step, we have to determine which sampling procedure we have to select, we have to use from the sampling frame. So by selecting appropriate sampling procedure, we have to determine how much or how many samples you have to select from the study sample units. And from that, we have to, once you decided the total number of samples you needed for your research, we are going to select those samples. So these are the procedure or steps to conduct sampling process. As we have discussed, there are two types of sampling methods: probability sampling method and non-probability sampling method. In probability sampling method, all members from the sampling frame has equal probability to get selected as a sample. Getting? So what are different types of probability sampling method? There are different types of sampling methods like simple random sampling, stratified random sampling, cluster sampling, systematic sampling, and multi-stage sampling. Now we'll see one by one what is the key characteristics of these sampling techniques or methods. In simple random sampling, it is also called as lottery method or table of number methods. So when this method is applicable, when the total population is very small and the population is of homogeneous type and readily available, in that case we are selecting simple random sampling. So in that case, just randomly we are selecting the members from the available frame as a respondent. What is the probability of sample random sampling? All subset of frames are given an equal probability. Means what? All members from the universe have equal probability to get selected as a member for the sample. The number done by assigning, in this case, how we are selecting, we are just assigning a number to each units of the sample frame, and by some techniques, we are selecting those numbers. Just as shown in the picture, that is a lottery system. Numbers are created against the sample units, and we have to just pick up the numbers from the lottery ball. In this fashion, those members who are selected, that is my sample. Well, another method is a table of random numbers and lottery systems. Such type of methods were used to select samples from this sample random sampling. So in simple random sampling, we are just selecting our members randomly from the available population, from the available sample frame. This is the main procedure of this method. So this method is having some advantages and disadvantages. The first one is that here in sample random process, we are selecting the sample randomly, so there is no personal bias. Also, this method is simple and more representative for our population, and accuracy can be assessed as sampling errors following principles of chance. So these are some merits of simple random sampling, but it's also having some demerits, like if the sample frame is large, this method is inappropriate, or we can say impracticable. Cases too widely dispersed, means the number of members who are selected as a sample, okay, as a sample frame, and they are away from, we can say, widely dispersed, then that will take more time and more cost to get involved in the sampling process. So these are some advantages and disadvantages of simple random sampling method. The second one is a stratified sampling method. The name itself indicates that stratified means nothing but we are creating different groups. It's called as stratas. So in a stratified sampling, what population size we have selected, that is what study population we have selected, that we have to create, that may be a heterogeneous type. So from that heterogeneous type of sample, we are going to create a group of homogeneous type of population. So creation of homogeneous group of homogeneous strata from the total population is called as stratification. And from each strata, we are going to select some members that may be using quota sampling, that may be using proportionate sampling method. We are going to select samples. So from this diagram, you can identify that if there are 20 populations or 20 individuals are there, and from that we have to select 10 representatives. We have to select 10 representatives. Then what you have to do, we have to create different stratas. So in the figure, black color, gray color, and yellow color are the three, we can say, colors. On the basis of that, we have created three stratas. And if you create three groups, then we found that in black colors there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 members. In gray colors there are 5 members. In six colors, and in yellow color there are 6 colors. So to formulate 10 respondent, we have to take proportionate sampling method here. Means what? Out of 20, if there are 8 members from black color, then how many students from out of 100? That is 40%, 30%, and 30%. So on the basis of this proportionate sampling method, I have select if out of 28, then out of 8, how many? So 4 individuals, 3 individuals, and 3 individuals from yellow color. So that formulates a 10%. So in stratified sampling, whole populations we are dividing into a number of stratas which are having unique characteristics, unique identifications. So on the basis of that stratas, we are selecting samples either by a fixed quota or by using proportionate sampling method. Stratified random sampling method is also having some merits and demerits. First one, it provides better coverage of population because we are creating homogeneous group from the heterogeneous group, and from that we are selecting representative from each group. So this also it is possible to separate analysis of any subgroup. Means we are creating groups on the basis of some special characteristics. So you can do research on the separate subgroups also. If sampling frame of entire population has to be prepared separately for each stratum, so it requires some time. It requires some, we can say, extra efforts to bifurcate the total population into number of different sampling frames. So this is one drawback of this stratified random sampling method. Then next one is a cluster sampling method. It is somewhat like our stratified sampling method. So in this case, cluster sampling is an example of two-stage sampling. So in first step, what we are doing? In first stage, sample of area is chosen, and in second stage, sample of respondents within those area is selected. Means out of total populations, we are creating different clusters. And from that clusters, if there are 100 clusters we have created, then out of 100 clusters, we are selecting some clusters, that may be 10, 20, 30. So those clusters we are selecting for our research. So population divided into clusters of homogeneous units, usually based on geographical categories or contingency. Sampling units are grouped rather than individuals. Here, sampling units are a group that may be or may not be of homogeneous type. A sample of such clusters is then selected. All units from selected clusters are studied. So if you select a particular cluster, then from that cluster, all members we are considering for our research. So in cluster sampling, we are dividing total population into a number of clusters. From those number of clusters, we select some clusters for our studies. And the clusters what we are selecting, all members from that clusters we are taking into consideration for our further study. This is the basic difference between stratified sampling and cluster sampling. Cluster sampling is having some merits. It cuts down the cost of preparing sampling frame. Here we are not creating different sampling frame. What the total population, what the total samples, that sample we are creating into number of clusters, and those clusters we are using for our study. So this reduces travel and administrative cost. So because what cluster we are selecting, we are only taking into consideration all members from that clusters. So we are not taking into consideration other members from different clusters. So cluster under study, that only part you have to take into consideration. So here sampling error is very high as compared to other types of sampling methods like simple random sampling, because we are out of total population we are selecting some clusters. So what is the problem and prospects for that particular clusters may be differ from other clusters. So this is having some drawbacks of selecting this method, that is sampling error. Then third one is stratified cluster sampling. It is a combination of stratified and cluster sampling. Here we first define the cluster, then group of that cluster into strata or clusters, putting similar customers together in a strata. Means we create out of population, we are dividing that particular population into cluster. Then from that cluster we are creating a groups of homogeneous strata, that is stratas. And from that strata, from that particular cluster, we randomly select the members. So this method reduces the errors in cluster sampling by creating strata of clusters. So all the populations is divided into clusters, and that cluster is further divided into stratas, and from each strata we are selecting some representative sample. So all members from that particular cluster will be covered in this sampling method, which reduces an error in cluster sampling by creating strata of cluster. Okay, some basic difference between stratified sampling and cluster sampling is that in stratified sampling we divide population into groups differ from each other. We create a group on the basis of sex, that is gender, we can say, on the basis of age. So in this fashion we are creating the stratas, but in a cluster dividing population into comparable groups. We can compare one city, one district, one tehsil. So that is called as a cluster from the total population. Okay, samples randomly from each group we are selecting. Here randomly sample from each group. Get it? So here random, what we are doing, we are selecting randomly members from each strata, but here we are selecting randomly groups from available clusters. Then next type of sampling is systematic sampling method. In systematic sampling, we arrange all population or sampling frame that you have selected for our research in some order, in some ordered format, and from that ordered formatted list with some regular interval we select a respondent. In following diagram we can identify that I have arranged all populations in a row in an ordered list, and every third member I am selecting as a respondent for my research. So in systematic sampling, what we are doing, we are arranging the total population in sequence or in ordered list, and with some regular interval from that ordered list we select the members for my research as a sample. So this method is having some advantages and disadvantages. So what are that? The first advantage is that this method is very easy to select, and suitable sampling frame can be identified easily in this systematic method, a systematic sampling method. Sample evenly spread over entire reference populations. So from that entire reference populations, we are selecting randomly, systematically those members for our research. And this system is also having some demerits, like samples may be biased, or it is difficult to access the precision of estimated from one survey. So these are some of the, you can say, demerits of systematic sampling method. Then next is a multi-stage sampling method. If you want to do a survey of very large population, we can say very large geographical distributed areas. So from that, if you want to do study for the large area, then we have to divide that total area into number of different stages. Suppose simple example, if you want to do a customer satisfaction survey for a banks who is spread throughout the India. So to do the survey of that bank, what you have to do, we have to create different stages. So total population is India, then we have to divide in different stages. Like we have to divide the total population of India into number of states. From each state, we have to divide the states into number of district. Number of district you have to divide into number of tehsils. Number of tehsils into number of cities or villages. So on the basis of that strata or on the basis of that stages, we have to select some samples to fulfill the research objectives. So in multi-stage sampling, we collect samples in number of stages, from cities, from tehsils, from districts, from state. So in this fashion, from each stage, we are selecting sample. So that is called as multi-stage sampling method. Now, second method is non-probabilistic sampling method. So in this sampling method, the members from the population don't have equal probability to get selected as in case of probability sampling method. So in this sampling method, the researcher selects sample as per his convenience, as per his experience, as per his need. That's why this method is called as a non-probability sampling method. In this case, the probability of getting selected from the available universe is not equal. That depends upon the choice of the researcher. So these non-probability sampling methods are divided into 4 types: convenience sampling, quota sampling, judgment or purposive sampling, and snowball sampling. Now we'll see what is the convenience sampling. Name itself indicates that convenience sampling is nothing but from the available population, the researcher select the population, select the respondent which are convenience, which are easily available for their research. So in convenience sampling, as we say that out of this population, the researchers select convenient group of members for their research. So such type of research, such type of sampling is only useful for a pilot study, because this method is having a lot of bias mechanism or sampling bias, and the results received from this convenience sampling may be unsatisfactory. So these are some drawbacks of convenience sampling. In convenience sampling method, the researcher selects a respondent from the available population as per his convenience, as per his availability, as per his consent. He selects the members. The second one is the quota sampling. In quota sampling, we have to identify what is total population, and from that population, how much is your total sample size. That if you decided, then you have to create different quotas. Means what? Same example we are taking here. If you want to do a survey from the radio listeners, if you want to do a survey on radio listeners, and you found that there are 500 people who found they are listening the radios. So from that quota, if you want to select some members as for your research, then you have to divide that total population into number of stratas, like how many members from those that are housewives, how many members are farmers, how many members are children whose age is less than 50. So total population I have divided into these 3 stratas, and from these 3 stratas I have identified out of total population how many percent is housewives, how many percent members are farmers, how many percent members are of age less than 15 years, and from that percentage I have decided to select 500 respondents. So to fulfill 500 respondents, how many members I have to select from housewives, from farmers, from children, that we have to calculate, and on the basis of that we have to fulfill our quota of 500 people. So in quota sampling, the population is first segmented into mutually exclusive subgroups, just as stratified sampling, just we have discussed, and then judgment used to select subjects or units from each segment based on specified proportion. Means what was the total population, how we are going to what is the quota you are decided to take for your survey, and on the basis of their proportion we can select the number of respondents. This Quota sampling is having merits like this method is used when research budget is limited or very extensive that particular subject is understood. No need for list of population elements. So in that case, we use quota sampling. So these sampling methods have some drawbacks like time-consuming method. Also, the bias of measurement is also more in as compared to other methods. So these are some of the drawbacks of quota sampling method. Next one is judgment sampling method. In judgment sampling method, with the previous experience, previous knowledge of the researcher select the samples from the available populations. Suppose in a class, teacher want to select some members for playing a particular game. Then by his previous experience, he selects from the class those students who have played in previous year's games. So those members he gets selected. So in this case, by the researcher judgments, he selects respondent from the available sample. This is also having some merits and demerits. This is only applicable if number of sample units is small. Study the cases of the understudy, if he is aware about that, then this method is helpful. But this method is having a number of drawbacks like personal bias, and the objective that we have selected that may not be suitable for that particular research. So subjective can say bias is more in case of judgment sampling. Then last one is the snowball sampling. So in snowball sampling, a special non-probability method is used when a desired sample characters are read. The research starts with key person and introduce the next one to become a chain. So in the figure, we found that the first person has given the names of two members, given reference we can say. These members given the reference of some other members. By referencing we form one chain, and from that chain we select the respondent. So in this fashion we collect the samples for our method. That's why it is called as snowball sampling method. So here I have tried to complete different what is sampling, what is population, what is census, what are different sampling methods on the basis of probability sampling method and non-probability sampling method, what are different types sub methods that are comes under this category. I have tried to complete. If you have any doubts regarding sampling methods, you can call me. My mobile number is 98500 98225 and my name is Dr.B.J.Mohite. We'll stop here. Thank you.